everybody, Ben F. the Bono Podcast, and welcome to Top 5 Friday. On a Friday, we get together and we have a look at the top 5 something, normally to do with Blood Bowl. Now, we're kind of going through a bit of a team series at the moment, looking at what third-party teams and third-party miniatures are available for you to run certain Blood Bowl teams. Now, we've come to a very cool team that Games Workshop has left in the Teams of Legend and has not revamped yet themselves, and that is the Vampire team. So the last time you could get this team, it was available on Made to Order, and it's been on Made to Order a couple of times, and it looks like this. And it's fine. It's cool. The cool thing about this team is there's only two positionals. It's vampires and not vampires, which means you've got a ton of flexibility when making a team and when using models. But there are some absolutely brilliant third-party teams out there specifically designed to be vampires. We put it out on our community and you guys gave us some great suggestions. So we're going to run through our top 5 vampire teams. Okay, so first of all, a couple of honourable mentions that you guys suggested that I felt like were worth sharing. One of them is RNE Studios Myth Bowl team. Unfortunately, there we go. Can we zoom in? That better. Can we zoom in? There you go. Okay, so they do have a vampire team, and it's got a cool mix of the different kind of archetypical vampires. You've got the beast-faced dudes, you've got the Strigoi, half-bats, and then you've got the classic Von Carsteins. Now, this team and the RNE Studio vibe is very much that of a 90s morning cartoon, which makes young Ben really happy. It's a cool team. It's not available to order. I think you can get the STLs from these guys on my mini factory, but their teams tend to be £50 for the STLs. So I think it's cool, good sculpts, great availability. Price is pretty high for what you get. And the second honorable mention goes to Hungry Troll. Now, I can't quite zoom in on these models the way I would like to. It's okay. So it's a very cool team. It is actually in stock, which does absolutely give it a couple of extra points. Now the price point here is really nice. So 65.34 euros, tax included. A complete vampire team, 6 vamps, 9 puppets, and a bunch of different heads and numbers and plastic bases and stuff. It's a very cool team. Here we go. We can get a picture of some of the vampires here. It's really well done. I think this went to Kickstarter because I vaguely remember seeing it land. And actually, the sculpts are really, really nice. I do like this vampire team. They've got kind of halfway between your Von Carstein style high society vibe mixed with the Blood Knights from Warhammer Fantasy Battle 6th edition, which were basically high military super knights, like halfway, yeah, just evil knights basically. Love the sculpts, love the minis. Hungry Troll do absolutely brilliant work as well. I can't really do much more to show you on the website because it's being a bit of a nuisance, but actually a really cool team, Hungry Troll. Number 5 is Willy Miniatures Vampire Team. So I think I've had the pleasure of seeing this one in person, and Willy Miniatures, they have a bit of a true scale vibe to them. They're a little bit taller and a little bit skinnier than other models, but Willy Miniatures does brilliant sculpts, and they've gone with kind of like the Kurgan from Highlander, okay, which is a big brutish guy. If you are a Warhammer player, then this is very much a Blood Dragon, not Blood Knight. Blood Knight was a unit, Blood Dragons was a bloodline, and it's cool. Now when it comes to vampire teams, there is all going to be this femme fatale vibe that goes through. So if you are shopping for a vampire team, be aware that very much like buying a witch elf team or something like that, it's going to be something you're going to have to navigate. That's going to be down to personal style. What I do love when it comes to Willy Miniatures is the size of the models, the casting quality, and basically the production is really, really well done. And it's all individual sculpts. So we've all seen the Games Workshop and probably have a couple of those teams where there are 4 blitzers in exactly the same pose. Orcs, 4 blitzers, 4 black orcs in exactly the same pose. Actually, you don't get this with most of these teams. They're all individual sculpts, which I love. It adds variety. And Blood Bowl is kind of an RPG, right? So these players are going to get character, and the more individual the sculpts, the more attachment to them you're going to get. So Willy Miniatures Vampire Team, 79.95, 10 thralls, 6 vampires. You get the whole whack. And the cool thing about Willy Miniatures is that you've got the other stuff there, right? There's a werewolf star player, you've got cheerleaders, there's a vampire deluxe edition team as well. Not sure what that includes, and I don't think we're going to find out. Oh, yes we are. Okay, A high quality cardboard box. Need that. Full vampire team, 10 and 6. Double-sided cardboard pitch, new size with forest and crypt sides. 2 double-sided dugouts with forest and crypt sizes. Can we see the pitch? Can we see the pitch? That is nice. 130 euros. Vampire team with a pitch. That is struggling to load. Dugouts, plastic balls, plastic tokens, and skill rings. So it's the same team. You don't get any fancy star players or anything, but it comes with a pitch, which is pretty cool. Number 4, it's the Cutamils Vampires team. Now, I haven't included a Cutamils team yet, but so many of you voted and so many of you put it in your top 5 that I felt I had to represent it. Plus, my wife loves the Cutamils range. I have yet to buy her a team, but I know that at some point it's going to happen and we'll get Tiff playing Blood Bowl. So, highly stylized. Highly. The Cutamils range is that of cartoon animals, but done in a Blood Bowl-y kind of way. They're not even just cartoony animals. They are chibi cartoony animals. And they're produced by Grebo, and they're awesome. I absolutely love them. They're produced brilliantly. The sculpts are all wonderful. But if you're after a generic vampire team, this is not going to do it for you. But if you are open to seeing what else is out there and to using something slightly different, I love the Cutamils team. So this is the vampire one. You've got the mice with like undead vibes and thrall vibes, and you've got these bats that are just done in a really cute way. One of them's asleep, one of them's blowing his nose. It's brilliant to see. And if you've got kids or just people like me who love cartoons and things, then actually this is a really cool way to get some lovely sculpts on the pitch. And actually, I've played against the Norse one frequently, and they look brilliant. It may not suit your aesthetic of Blood Bowl, but it is a cool alternative to have instead of, you know, the femme fatale look. Instead, you can go vampire. 75 euros, and I believe you get the full team. Yeah, 6 vampires, 11 thralls, and a few balls and team markers as well. Plus, it's Grebo, and Grebo do great stuff. The production quality is brilliant. The sculpting is brilliant. The postage is outrageous. So, big fan of this one. It's our first Cutamils team of the season. I would be surprised if we didn't see another one in the future, though. Number 3 is Vortese Dragonblood Knighters. So this was a Kickstarter that Willy Miniatures put out recently, and they've been delivering, or their production now, they'll be delivering soon, something like that. I don't know. As you can see, because I've not signed out, I backed it with, what did I go? Basic, just 1 Vampire Clan. Huh, I thought I got for a second. So the cool thing about this Kickstarter, as we scroll down and see some of the models, is they leaned into the different bloodlines from Warhammer. So in Warhammer, there was the Von Carstein, which is your classic vampire. Then there were the Blood Dragons, which were those highly militaristic vampire knights. Then there were the Strigoi, that were kind of half-bat beasts. Then there were the Necrarch, which were the decrepit old wizard ones. There were the Larmians, which were serpentine and femme fatale, basically. And I feel like there was another one. No, guess not. And they leaned into that. So their standard vampires had this kind of classic musculature, right? But they had this Judge Dredd, like Judge Death vibe with the helmets and the grills. And Vortese do some brilliant sculpts, and they've always got a lot of character in them. We looked at the Tomb Kings one recently, and it's a lovely team. So these are the thralls for the players, for the team, and you've got that kind of weird gothic knight cartoony helmet to it. Here's the Strigoi vampires. So this is what I was talking about, like half bats, half men. It's terrifying, and it's been really well done. Then you've got the Carsteins, which are your classic kind of like vampires with bats, and they do it brilliantly too. You've got the Necrarch, which are the old wizards, and they've kind of got a vibe of one of the Blade movies. I think it was the 3rd one, with the split mouths and the hoods and things, and it works really well. They've got the Red Dragons with the even bigger helmets and this kind of just evil vampire vibe, which I loved. You got Lamia, which were the female ones, and yeah, okay, good. I did get my bloodlines right. And the cool thing about this team is that you can pick your blood you can pick your bloodline, you can pick your team, which I thought was really cool. So even though this one's not out yet, it will be out soon, and it is Vortese. So we don't know how much it's going to be when it comes to a team. I would say it's probably going to be comparable to the Tomb King team, which was a reasonable amount. But for versatility, for sculpts and theme, I thought they did an absolutely superb job, and I wasn't surprised to see so many of you say Vortese as your 1 or 2, because actually, beautiful, beautiful execution. Number 2 is Succubus Studios Vampire Team. So this one is currently out of stock at the moment, but again, we've had Succubus Studios come up in a couple of our top 5s because they do absolutely brilliant models and brilliant sculpts. So this is €80 for 16 miniatures, 5 vampires, 11 thralls. Now the roster, you can take 6 vampires, so that's a bit of a pain, but hey, running 6 vampires is... Oh, you can do it actually, and you can do it in Blood Bowl 2020 quite well. So the style for this one is a weird one, right? It's like Mad Max meets Power Rangers, and they've got that kind of, you know, extrovert kind of angle to it. Now some of the sculpts are, like I said, they've got that kind of, they look like villainesses from a Conan movie, which is to be expected in some of these ranges, and it's cool and it's fine. But they actually do have alternative sculpts, which I thought was brilliant. Now the models themselves, they're resin, they're cast well. We've seen Succubus Studios miniatures before. They are a little bit taller, kind of in line with Willy's Miniatures, but they're always cast and produced really well. Where was my page with my vampires? Oh, okay, I guess we're having a go back. But there are some alternative vampires that have got a real classic kind of vampire vibe to it, and it's this one here. So the Vampire Star Player, and this one I think is a really good example of the style and the sculpting that's gone into it. Sorry, the internet's being terrible because I'm uploading videos, so that's on me. Okay, this is the kind of model you're getting, and it's sculpted really well. You've got brilliant chunky armor with some grotesque muscles there. You've got all the vampire bits you'd expect, i.e. bat wings, muscles, spikes, and of course, cloaks. These vampires look strength 4, and this is one of the challenging things when it comes to buying a vampire team, is having your vampires look strength 4 while being Ag 4. No, Ag 2+, old school. And actually, the Succubus Studios one does it phenomenally well. I was really impressed, and I saw this model and immediately thought, this is good. And again, I'm not surprised that this was in so many of your top 1s or 2, because it is a beautiful, beautiful team. So, Succubus Studios, number 2. Which means number 1 is, of course, the Vampire Buccaneers from Punga. Yes, they are a pirate-themed team, but dude, these sculpts are fantastic. So this is a Punga team, and it is now available. This was from one of their first big Kickstarters, and it was just phenomenal. This was probably the best sculpting we'd seen for Blood Bowl. Unique sculpts, so much just depth and effort has been put into this team. And again, having a bit of an internet fail. Let's see if we can get a view of some of these other models. Okay, so and you can buy this one right now, which is just really useful. Okay, $99, Buccaneers, 10 thralls, 6 vampires, team marker, some ball, and a reroll, right? And then you can get add-ons as well, which is this here, with a coach, with a plague doctor, with a mage, with a vampire cheerleader. This is where that kind of Kickstarter vibe really kicks off. But at $99, which is what, £80, which is in line with all the other teams we've kind of looked at, you get a complete vampire team, entirely unique sculpts, produced beautifully by Punga, and I believe you get a fancy box as well, which apparently is really important to people who buy vampire teams. Huh, who knew? Anyway, do we get the star player? Do we get the star player? I assume we get the star player. Anyway, let's have a look at some of the sculpts here, because the Punga Kickstarter kicked off and was monstrous. This was, I feel like, one of the first really elite Kickstarters to happen. It took a while to deliver it, but actually, I think, yeah, this was this Necromantic and the Tomb Kings all at once. And I mean, look at the sculpts. Punga's physical miniature sculpting is incredible. The casting quality is brilliant. I know that Bloodtithe Ben's got a whole bunch of teams to share with you at some point, but the vampire team was one of the best. Each one of the thralls is so well done, has got so much character. And like I said, when you're playing Blood Bowl, your linemen, they're gonna build up. They're gonna have character. Look at Grot Brady, right? Grot Brady is a goblin, but he is famous. Everyone loves. And if your Phil, my last coach, tries to kill Grot Brady frequently, it's so good. And when you've got individually sculpted linemen, they're going to start getting character. You've got hook hand, you've got spikes, you've got all kinds of stuff. And then you've got some beautifully sculpted vampires. I'm not going to carry on gushing. I do think it's really close with these vampire teams, but personally, the Punga one is just the cream of the crop. And it's available now at basically as good a price as you can get a third-party team. Okay, so that is the top 5 vampire teams out there, chosen by you, filtered by me. And I guess I've just got to reiterate, vampires went through a couple of changes in Blood Bowl 2020, but they are a really fun team to play with or play against. They can be super potent. You've got vampires who are strength 4 and edge 2+. They've got animal savagery, so you've got some really cool characterful combos there where you can just punch and murder your own guy, which kind of gives the vibe of vampires wanting to have a bite, have a nibble. It works brilliantly. But when it comes to building a team, you can pick up some beautiful third-party ones, but actually the vampire team is probably the easiest to proxy, the easiest to brew up. Don't only think of it as vampires. Don't only think, oh, I have to represent vampires eating stuff. It doesn't. You can have corn demons being enraged. You can have golems being enraged. You can have treemen being enraged. You can have big trolls, ogres, whatever. You just need 6 dudes that are bigger than the other dudes, that look more impressive than the other dudes, and a whole bunch of strength 3 looking dudes. That is it. Okay, it's easy to proxy, but it's easy to custom build and to proxy well with a strong theme, and that's where Blood Bowl absolutely shines. We see some great teams, but actually those teams where someone puts together clever pieces to be like, here is my savage orc team, and we've got 6 big savage orcs, and we've got a bunch of regular orcs, and the regular orcs are my thralls, and the big looking scary dudes are the normal guys, or chaos demons. Like, I love this. Like a vampire team with some big bloodletters as your vampires, they're demonic, and then just a bunch of human linemen as their thralls, or blooming corn dudes as the thralls. It makes sense. Like, from a theme and a vibe, it makes sense. But I guess my parting words for this would be, of all the teams out there, and I put a post out today that you've probably seen and liked and kind of voted in, of all the teams that have still yet to be resurrected or revamped, as I said at the beginning, vampires are probably the most in the need of something special, some little bit of spice. And I wouldn't be surprised to see them get a big guy or a blitzer role or a stunty role or a bat swarm. So if you're purchasing a third-party team, this is probably the most volatile one. But given that Games Workshop previewed Amazon's 2 months ago and it's still not released, you've got plenty of time. So if you do love that Punga team, pick it up. You can proxy whatever else lands. You're going to have a good year or 2 years playing with it before anything changes anyway. And vampires are such a fun and unique challenge. It's a modeling opportunity. Spoil yourself. Brew up something. Make a vampire team. Get it to the pitch. And frustrate yourself. It's good fun. Anyway, guys, let me know what you think, and if we've missed anything off before you all go off and order your Cutamils team, and I'm going to disappear. So thank you very much for watching. We'll be back soon with more Blood Bowl content. Happy blocking. Thanks very much for watching. We really appreciate your support. If you want to help support the channel even further, please like and subscribe, or come join us on our Patreon. We have early access to content. We get loads of feedback from you guys, and we try and do competitions as much as we can. Or you can get yourself some Bonehead podcast merch on our Spreadshirt site. So if you want to support a team, especially for the Bonehead Championship, you can pick up a shirt, a mug, things like that. It all helps support the channel, and we really appreciate it. Anyway, links below. Thank you very much. Happy blocking.